So, Ollie, do you have any embarrassing moments throughout your teaching career that you'd like to share?
Just a few. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if how many of these I want to share, but but I mean, if you think about the number of hours that I've taught over the years, I never actually thought, but thousands of
Thousands and
hours of
thousands, yeah.
things go wrong, don't they? Sometimes, I mean, I think the thing, one of the things, one of the most horrible moments for me personally, it wasn't so much a teaching moment, but it was around the working part of it. So I was in Japan, and it was one of my first couple of weeks teaching. I was teaching on the other side of Tokyo. It was a Saturday morning. Saturday was the busiest teaching day in Japan, which was inconvenient because Friday night became, a bit of a dilemma. And so I had to be at the school by, I think it was 8:30 in the morning, a good hour's commute away. And I went out the night before, and sure enough, my alarm didn't go off. I either didn't go. I blame the alarm, but I probably didn't set it, to be completely honest with you. And so I got woken up on Saturday morning by the phone ringing, and I thought, well, who could that be? And I remember not picking up because it must be a marketing call or something. And then I went back to sleep, and then I realised, expletive. I should have woken up 2 hours ago, and my lessons had already started, and I was still in bed. Yeah. So I called them back and said, like, I'm so sorry, I'm on the way in. And so I kind of woke up, had showered as quickly as I could, ran to the station, and then I arrived at the school, and my student there for my next lesson was sort of sitting there in the lobby, watching as me, like, everyone knew I was late because the student there before had been taught by someone else, and I kind of had to walk in and kind of parade through all of the students that were waiting for me.
Walk of shame.
Walk of shame. And then I had to sort of sit down and actually deliver a lesson to that student in full knowledge that she knew exactly what had happened. And it was just a bad moment.
Yeah. But it happens, doesn't it?
I imagine it hasn't all been plain sailing for you either.
Oh, one or two embarrassing moments. The one that always springs to mind for me was my first year teaching abroad. I taught in Poland. And there was a satellite school which was about an hour away from the main school. And we went there twice a week to teach lessons. And I was teaching an elementary class, I think, pre-intermediate. And for some reason, I decided to plan an entire lesson around Blue Suede Shoes by Elvis Presley.
Elvis.
I don't even like Elvis Presley that much, but I think it was in the course book as a single activity. But I thought, oh no, I'll do an entire lesson based around this. So I created lots of extra materials. There were various listening tasks, gap fills, that kind of thing. So I had it all prepared, all beautifully presented, had all the materials ready to go. We had the cassette as well, and we were driven to the school an hour away in the satellite school. I got into the classroom, and there was no cassette player there. This is cassettes. This is a long time ago.
I can see where this is headed.
Yes. Yeah. And so I checked. There were no cassettes anywhere else. It wasn't a proper school. It was just a few rooms above an office. No cassette players anywhere. We didn't have internet. Very, very good internet in those days. So what did I do? I had to sing.
You had to sing it. Yeah.
Blue Suede Shoes 3 times.
3 times, because once wouldn't have been enough.
It wouldn't have been enough. Right? Yeah. In full. And I'm not a very good singer.
Okay, well, so give us a quick rendition of what it would sound like from the student's perspective.
Maybe later. Yeah. That's another video.
Another one that I remember was it was comedy. It was just it was so farcical that I can hardly believe it happened, really. But it was, again, in Japan. All of these experiences happen when you're a new teacher, and I was a new teacher in Japan. It was a Saturday morning, I think. Saturday mornings were the bane of my life, and I had a new student, or a new class, and I remember you get your lesson sheet, and it was just the names of the students, and so there were 2 Japanese names. I thought, okay, this is probably a couple, or maybe a couple of friends coming in for their lesson. So I prepared a kind of standard first lesson for adults. Turns out that these 2 Japanese students were actually a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the receptionist at the school had neglected to tell me that was what, and I'd never taught kids. This is like one of my first ever kids lessons, and so I was there, sort of, standing at the door expecting these adults. The 2-year-old and 4-year-old came through. The 2-year-old could hardly walk, and the mother obviously had to come into the classroom with the kids because they were so young, and I had an hour to fill with no idea what to do, and so I just. All training goes out the window at this point. You are literally just flying by the seat of your pants, and so I would, I just did what I could. I grabbed as many. I think I remember grabbing some. There were some floor mats with numbers on them, and I thought,
Yes, yeah.
numbers that would work. So as I kind of held up the numbers and say, 1, this is 1. What's this 1? And then can you put them in order? And the 4-year-old could, like, if he wanted to, he could kind of follow what I was saying. The 2-year-old was charging around the room, picking things up, and I didn't know where to look. And the mother, it was one of those baptism of fire moments.
Absolutely.
But we all have them, and I guess
Yeah.
what's the lesson do you think to draw from these experiences?
We're human, and not everything goes to plan. We can't prepare for every possible situation.
And it's okay, right?
It's okay, and we can laugh about it, and that's so important as well.
And I think often what happens is the moments when things do go wrong often turn into the most educational moments for us as well, and we end up becoming the teachers that we are based on these experiences that we have.
Absolutely. Have a backup so you don't have to sing Elvis.
Have a backup.